Hey there, thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Spiritual Scientist. I'm Victor. Thank you for tuning in. So, as you know, Russia is now invading Ukraine, which I totally condemn this action. And I am now anti-war, and I think that this is a very bad thing. Just to be clear, I did come out with some videos last week, more and more talking about myself, and the reason I did is because I thought if I did talk about that, then Russia perhaps would not invade Ukraine. So that was my purpose of that, not to grandize myself or say I'm so great, but I thought that if they knew in Russia, not to do certain things, then it would all work out, but it didn't happen. So, thought I'd talk to you a little bit about some comments on my channel. One guy saying that on 2/22/2022, he experienced that date on the 15th, which I thought was very interesting. I asked him about it as a follow-up question, and invariably, a lot of times I ask people questions back, and I don't see any answer. Maybe they're busy, people forget, maybe they shifted away for all I know, but it's hard to have a conversation on this. A lot of times I don't see comments at all, and then, a while later I see it. Somebody came on my channel, and there was somebody that was saying before that a couple of years ago said that I was very acted like a homosexual, and I didn't have an Adam's apple, and now I did. So I was just like, man, you're projecting, you have some issues, which I pretty much think he did. This guy came on my channel, is commenting, and saying his name, by the way, is God. He changed the name to God, which I found very not good. If you think about it, back in 2,000 years ago, people wouldn't even say the word God. They would say something else because it was so sacred, and people felt God was sacred, and they wouldn't say that. But I couldn't name my channel, God. It just wouldn't be right, I think, to be respectful. But anyway, he said that I was very flamboyant in the past, which I found that interesting. And the reason that I found that interesting was because I noticed the new Mandela effect. Now, I noticed the new Mandela effect, and then I saw his comment, flamboyant, this morning. So, kind of like a tie-in, the Mandela effect is one of creation. So, as I said, that God is the God of creation, and then when we see new creations, that shows that these miracles are transpiring, and that pushes into our time stream a creation. So then it's always been that way. So there's a new creature called the Flamboyant Cuttlefish, which I thought was very interesting, and I checked it out a little bit, and it's pretty cool looking cuttlefish. I actually love cuttlefish. I think it's amazing. And I remember I went out to a restaurant and with a friend of mine, and I have the cuttlefish, and I was eating cuttlefish, and I was like, this doesn't taste that great. And then later I found out that the cuttlefish is so smart, like an octopus, and I just felt so bad. I was like, oh man, I feel bad. I ate some cuttlefish. I was like almost a thinking being. Well, now there's a flamboyant cuttlefish, which I just thought was really weird, but it's a very interesting animal. So there was that. I'm trying to remember. There was these dogs that are from like the steppes in very newer dogs. I created a meme a couple weeks ago on my Instagram about red wolves, some of the rarest dogs. Well, now there's these red dogs. They're like wolves that are, I forget the name, but anyway, they are in like Europe, I think, and they're very much out there. Anyway, that was new. There's also these Hobbits of Indonesia, which I've never heard of before. So a Hobbit, the Hobbits of Indonesia. These Hobbits are supposedly were, I don't think they're alive now, so they were up to 1 meter tall. So I thought that was interesting as well, since we have, I said a lot of things before, we're like, like Lord of the Rings coming into real life, and other movies, like we had those, dire wolves and all the other things. So Phoenix were real, among other things. And then, what was it, 100,000 years ago were these unicorn kind of things. Anyway, the one other thing that I could tell you, since God is a God of creation, and everybody seems to be fighting over, energy resources. That's one of the reasons that Russia's invading Ukraine is for the gas, energy, natural gas. They have deposits, right? So now, you could call it a timeline shift. It's more of a creational shift, is how I tend to view it. But the new thing is the fusion. So that's the big thing. Fusion reactions, and with tokamak. I was talking, I don't know if I talked about it on my channel, but I was noting it and writing it down about the most advanced at the time. This was, I guess, a year ago. I was looking into all these most advanced AI ever, and they were using it in these tokamak reactions, where they programmed this computer, an AI computer, to produce these magnetic fields, because the fusion reaction is so volatile. They have to have a cohesive magnetic field in basically a round circle, because these fusion reactions can happen 7 times the heat of the sun. So we have these, fusion reactions. Well, the timeline shift, or whatever you want to call it now, is that they've had tokamak, these ways to have fusion reactions since the 70s, and the history of it, it's amazing now, where it was pretty recent that these fusion reactions were happening. Now they go all the way back to the Manhattan Project, where they said, yeah, that's where we get hydrogen bombs from. But now they've been talking about how in the history that, history changed, and now the fusion reactions have always, been, something that they researched, and they're saying, how come it's actually the technology we're so behind? Why don't we have fusion now? So If we did have fusion now, there's I believe it's IDET, which is the in Europe we have I think it's a $20 billion. It's a lot of countries coming together. We have a fusion plant that they've been working on. They're supposed to be online by 2035, and if that happens, then what would happen is the more the energy that you put into it, it produces more energy out. That's how you would get the free energy. But what I was saying is that the the fusion reaction itself, now the history behind it has changed, and now it's been something that's always been around. So we had the particle accelerators, the history changed, and there was just one, and then there was two, and then there was 30,000 of them. The history changed with the technology, with the with these AI being so quantum computers, and now we have these fusion. So, and look for you'll hear about it, I think, pretty soon. Some small company somewhere is going to have sustainable fusion reaction, which is kind of scary. 7 times the heat of the sun. Somebody doing that in a garage. But I believe that you're going to see this kind of shortly. And then they're using, deuterium, which is basically in the water. In a gallon of water, you can have, it's equal, the deuterium in it would be equal to 350 gallons of gasoline. That's what I'm talking about. So what I'm saying is they're going to have these, I think they're going to have a major breakthrough someone's going to come up with shortly for these, fusion reactions. And then the idea is that we wouldn't need to invade other countries because there's free energy everywhere. So hopefully free energy is coming, and that'll be amazing. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, share. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.